you. So your hunger depends on your parents feeding you. If your parents feed you a certain amount and then feed you more, you all of a sudden become less hungry. So a dependent variable is something that is affected by another variable.
So my hunger is dependent on my parents?
Yes.
Whoa.
Another thing we have is an independent variable. So based on now we know what that dependent means, that it is affected by something. Can you guys take a guess at what independent would mean?
Doesn't depend on it.
Good. So my hands, I can move them independently from each other. Surprisingly. Whoa, 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 whoa. I can rub my stomach. I can pat my head. Doesn't matter. Yes?
But teacher, isn't there a point where I can't move my hand anymore? So it's kind of dependent on where my other hand is.
Good.
Okay.
So in that case, it's not a perfect example, but I'm independent from you. I can move way away from you. I can do whatever I want.
He's his own person.
I'm my own person, yes. You're all your own persons. So we have independent and dependent variables. So now, if we are having an experiment of who is taller, 7th grade boys or 7th grade girls, what would be our dependent variable?
Whether they're a boy or a girl?
Does my height depend on being a boy or a girl, or does being a boy or a girl depend on my height? If I am born short, everybody's born short, but does that automatically make them either a boy or a girl? No. But if you are a boy, you have a better chance of being taller, sadly, for girls. But if you're a girl, you have a better chance of being shorter. So in this experiment, boys and girls would be the independent variable, and height would be the dependent variable. So I've got two little things for you guys, or one little thing for you guys. I want you guys to work together and try to find what the dependent variable is and what the independent variable is. And remember, if it depends on something, it is affected when the other something is changed.
Okay. So does dropping a ball from a different height affect how high it bounces after hitting the ground?
So the height, so the bouncing height is dependent on how high you drop it?
How high you drop it?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Are we in a vacuum?
Are we in a vacuum, teacher? What
For
kind
this
of
case,
vacuum?
you can be in a vacuum if you want to be in a vacuum.
Then yes.
Okay.
Because there's a point where the ball gets too high and it drops too far.
There's,
Turn the water.
yes.
I'm a 5th grader.
So which one is the dependent variable?
So the depend is the height that it's dropped from.
No, the height it's bouncing.
The height is bouncing is the dependent variable?
Because
It depends on the
how high
height
it's
we
dropped
drop from.
Are you all in consensus?
Oh yeah.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, now flip it over. We have one last thing. We have a little song. Tell if you remember this.
Oh boy.
I'll sing it first, and I want you guys to sing it after that.
This
Old
wasn't part of the
MacDonald
deal.
had an experiment. He was a mad scientist, and in this experiment, he had an independent variable. This is what he changed. When he changed that one, the experiment had begun, and now he could see the outcome. Old MacDonald had an experiment. He was a mad scientist, and in this experiment, there was another variable. It was dependent. What it was dependent on was the independent one. This is what results are based on. Old MacDonald had an experiment. He was a mad scientist.
Oh boy.
Think you can all sing that with me now?
Heck yeah.
Okay.
If you can sing it with, you don't have to sing it with me if you don't want to.
Alex.
Good.
All right. Old MacDonald had an experiment.
He was a mad scientist.
And in this experiment, he had an independent variable. This is what he changed. When he changed that one, the experiment had begun. Now he could see the outcome. Old MacDonald had an experiment. He was a mad scientist.
The experiment was another variable.
It was dependent. What it was dependent on was the independent one. This is what results are based on. Old MacDonald had an experiment. He was a mad scientist. Hey,
Oh my
thank you
God.
guys.
I want to